So today we're going to talk about NotebookLM, which is from Google, and it is one of the most exciting new AI platforms that you'll see out there for education because it doesn't actually just use the entire internet as a source. You actually get to put your sources in and use it in sort of a more contained way. And I'm really excited that it is now part of the education suite. So there's so much you might be able to do with it in your classes or just as a teacher or administrator. So let's take a look at what it does. So here's a look at the landing page for NotebookLM, and you can create a new notebook either here or there's a create new option up on top. And you could add sources. So just be aware that this AI will only use the sources you're adding. So you can choose files from your computer, that's PDFs, audio files, you could add an MP3. It connects right to Google Drive, so you could pull sources there. You could add websites, YouTube links, or even just copy and paste text. You also have a Discover Sources option up on top. That will actually help you find sources based on what you're looking for. So I'm going to use Google Drive, and I'm going to just use an AI presentation that I did for administrators on Google NotebookLM. So this will read it. It takes about a minute or two, and then it becomes a really good way to just navigate the source. So I can ask questions below. It gives you some suggested questions based on the topic. And, you know, especially something that's really big data, you can kind of go in and dig and ask questions based on just the document. So it's not pulling any other information. I really like the mind map feature. So if you click this, it takes about a minute, depending on how big the source is. It's going to just lay everything out in a very nice visual mind map. Right. So this is a presentation and you can kind of see, you can go through and it shows you the different tools, and you're able to download this, which is great. So it's a nice visualization of the data, which is great. So you can download it right up here, zoom in, zoom out. And the studio is really, you know, where you're going to actually do the work. So you can create an audio or video overview. This does a very good job. You could just click the button, but the little pencil icon lets you actually be more specific. So this is really helpful. You could do a targeted, you know, look at just part of the sources. And they do a very good job. You could also navigate exactly how you want the voice to be, you know, where the audience is. So the mind map we showed, reports, so you could do reports based on anything there. And then for educators, of course, flashcards and quizzes. So this is our bread and butter. You're also able to share these, which is fantastic. So let's take a look at some of my notebooks and how I'm using it in school now. So here's a little look at the 5th grade curriculum. You're able to choose which sources you're using when you're actually bringing things into the studio. So there's a lot of things right now on Halloween, which makes sense. So let's take a look at our curriculum flashcards. It takes all of the information and makes these really handy flashcards for teachers. And then, of course, you could build a quiz directly on the same sources, which is nice. And they're interactive, which is terrific. You also have a nice visualization of everything. So you can kind of see the birth of trick-or-treating and then all the information. So it's really nice, especially for students to kind of look back on their learning. You know, I'm also doing a book club on Make It Stick. So I have all the different sources in there, videos, PDFs, some of the book. And I listen to it as an audio guide on the drive home just to reinforce some of the learning. But like one of my favorite examples is in the French class. You know, it works in any language. So we're able to kind of take some of what's being taught in class and then make these really helpful learning guides for students to kind of go back and understand the information a little bit better. You know, and even just as an administrative thing, I took the school clubs and activities guide, which is just a PDF and not so user-friendly. And it's a much better as a mind map that kind of breaks it into different groups. And even better is the video. So the video is made for students. We'll take a quick look at how they came out.
All right, high school. So much going on, so many things to do. And clubs, they're one of the best parts. But man, when you see that list of all the options, it can be a lot. So, where do you even start? Ever look at that super long list of clubs and just freeze? Yeah, you are definitely not alone.
This is really the advent of this tool. It started out sort of in the podcasting world, and then lots of other things were added to it. And there's a few new beta features that are really exciting too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back talking about this again, because it seems to be more interactive in the future. So best of luck, and I hope you really enjoy this one.